Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinema Chazzy, the segment on this channel where I review the many movies that I watch over the years, whether they're old or new or modern or classic. I'm aware that some of those words are synonyms, but I still continue to say that because it's my intro for Cinema Chazzy and I refuse to change because I'm a stubborn little YouTuber, I am. And I will continue to say that until all the end of time, until the universe collapses onto itself like a Newton bomb. Not sure that even made a lick of scientific sense, but still, guys. Well, yeah. In case you've been living under a rock or you just haven't really been following my channel prior to coming across this video, I've been doing some football related content lately on here, you know. Been playing some Madden NFL 23. I did a video about the greatest running back of all time recently, Walter Payton, you know, gonna leave a link to that up here. And today I'm going to be doing my very first football related movie in a long time, you know. I think the last time I did this was back when I reviewed Gridiron Gang, and prior to that, The Blind Side. I know that was last year. And today I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of Remember the Titans, you know, which is a biographical sports drama released back in 2000, directed by Boaz Yakin. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced his name, but man, and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. And this is actually one of the greatest movies about football ever, you know. It's one of my personal favorites, and in every single list of the top 10 best football movies, I know that this one is there. Every list that I've seen, Remember the Titans has appeared on, you know. It is based on a true story, which just makes it even more dramatic in my opinion, you know. Because man, it's a movie about football and it's based on true events. So that to me right there is the perfect pairing, you know. Biographical sports drama and starring the legendary Denzel Washington, right? He actually plays Coach Herman Boone, who is this newly appointed head coach, you know, who's trying to integrate the T.C. Williams High School football team back in Alexandria, Virginia, way back in 1971. And if you know anything about American history, you know that racism back then was a candid topic. You know, it was really hard, even though those schools had actually been integrated back in 1959, you know, about almost 10 years or so, you know, before the movie's events. But still, inconsistencies aside and inaccuracies, this movie was still really awesome, you know. And it had a budget of $30 million, but went on to gross worldwide $136.8 million. So I think suffice to say it was pretty successful, you know, despite some of the mistakes that were taken with the source material, you know. We also had Will Patton playing Bill Yost, who was the assistant coach who worked under Boone, you know. It was really nice, man. It was a very good illustration of how the schools were coming together, you know. White players with black players, you know, converging to play football together and learning to become much more than teammates, but more like a family, you know. It was really amazing. And honestly, as the movie goes on, you start to understand more and more how segregation works and racism and the prejudice that all the black players face, you know, even the coach himself. But I actually think it was very well done. It was a very oh damn it, of course my timer fell. There we go. It was, what was I saying? Oh yes, I think it was very well orchestrated. It was a really good story. It was just, I don't know, everything about it, you know, from the production, the cinematography, and the actual plot elements just lined up so perfectly. And I'm going to be doing an in-depth review, so this should be obvious, so I don't even know why I'm gonna say it, but spoilers ahead if you've never seen the movie. But before I get into the plot, let's take a look at a clip here from it.
Coach Boone's school board made the decision to put you on my staff. I did not hire you.
Well, I came up here to coach you. I didn't ask to be assigned to your staff, so I guess we're both in a situation we don't want to be in.
Why? If the game won't play like that, we'll lose every game.
But I can guarantee you this, Coach. I come to win.
Pretty cool, eh? Pretty cool, man. It's 113 minutes filled with all of that, you know, drama and authentic footballness, you know, the prowess of the gridiron pigskin. Anyway, about the plot, right? So in 1971, Coach Bill Yost is leading his white players in summer workouts, and he gets the news that a black coach named Herman Boone is going to come in and, you know, help him, you know, with the team, train them and whatnot. But the school district actually decides to name him as the head coach, and as a way to sort of, you know, placate the racial tension around town. You know, at first Herman doesn't accept, but seeing what it means to the black community, he does rally behind it, you know. But of course, the white players and the white community in general are outraged, you know, and some of the white players even say that, you know, if Bill doesn't coach, they're going to leave the team completely, you know. But he's worried about their scholarship, so he convinces them all to stay, and he does accept, although reluctantly at first, he does accept to work under Coach Boone as the defensive coordinator, you know. But Boone does say, hey, look, you know, this this is my team. I don't want you undermining me or anything. So if you got a problem, then get the hell out of here, you know. So that's essentially how it starts to work out. There is a lot of racism, you know. They do use a lot of racial slurs, some of the characters at first, you know. Everybody is against Herman, you know, but he still tries anyway. And so the players, they come together, you know, in workouts, and they actually go to Gettysburg College, you know, in August for training camp. And there is so much racial tension between the players, you know, especially between Gary Bertier and Julius Campbell. You know, they are very at odds with each other. You know, I do believe they are like the team captains or something, or just like the two best players. So now what happens is that the players are always getting into squabbles. They don't get along, you know. So it's really complicated because this is a period of integration for the T.C. Williams High School, you know. So that's kind of like, I mean, people are still getting used to other people, you know, like the white kids are still getting used to the black kids among them and vice versa, you know, so it's really complicated. However, they are at Gettysburg, right? So Coach Boone wakes them up one day and takes them to the Gettysburg National Cemetery, you know, where 50,000 men died back in the World War. I do believe it was the Civil War, the American Civil War, right? So, and then there is a very emotional speech by Coach Boone there, and the players are actually much more, you know, they let their guard down emotionally. They do grow closer, you know, they appreciate each other more because this war was fought, you know, with all skin colors. You know, nobody cared if they were black or white. Everybody was, you know, on the battlefield, you know, protecting their brothers, you know. So this brings the teammates much closer. However, the school district, you know, the board does issue an ultimatum. If Coach Boone loses as so much as one game in that season, he's going to be removed from the coaching position, you know. So the Titans have a lot of pressure on them, you know, to win every single game, and they do. They go pretty much the entire season undefeated, you know, while very slowly gaining support from the community despite the racial tension in the air. The black players do face a lot of racism, you know, in the stands, you know, a lot of name calling and jeering. So it's really complicated, you know, it's really complex. But because they are playing very good football on the field, the community, even the white members of it, you know, they start to rally behind them a little bit more, you know. As the movie goes on, we see a lot of character development, you know. The players grow closer, and other members of the community start to accept the black players more. However, before the state semifinals, you know, the chairman of the board actually tell Coach Bill that they have actually rigged the game, you know, to go against the Titans. So the referees are pretty much paid off to make very bogus calls. So Coach Boone will lose the Titans will lose the game, and Coach Boone will lose his job, and Bill will be reinstated as head coach. So, you know, the referees are just like completely throwing the game, making really bad calls against the Titans during it. But then, you know, Coach Bill doesn't take it anymore, so he goes and says, look, if you don't start refereeing the game correctly, I'm going to expose this scandal to the press, so you better start doing your job. So then they actually referee, they start to referee the game properly, and the Titans win. But of course the chairmen are pissed, and they tell Bill that he has been stripped of his Hall of Fame nomination, but he doesn't care because he did the right thing. Now there is a moment here where we actually see the chant. I do believe it's in the final game. They do make it to the state championship, the Titans, right? Where we see the famous, you know, everywhere we go, people want to know who we are, so we tell them we are Titans, mighty, mighty Titans. It actually harkens back to my childhood when I saw a Kellogg's commercial of the Tiger singing this, but in his own version, you know. It's really awesome, man. And so they do go on to win. They do go on to play the state championship. However, minus their linebacker, you know, Gary Bertier, who was injured in a car accident and paralyzed from the waist down. He was an All-American linebacker and one of their best players, so it is hard to go on without him. But they do amass a fourth quarter comeback and win the state championship, you know, which is really awesome. Unfortunately, you know, the movie does have somewhat of a happy ending, but we do find out 10 years later that Gary died in a car accident, and there was a funeral at the beginning of the movie, you know, for one of the players, and we find out that it was actually Gary. So it was really sad, you know. A few post-credit scenes say how the players were after the game, you know, after that period there, the integration, you know, what they went on to do. So it's really nice. There is a moment too where I do believe there was one character, I believe it was Gary's girlfriend, you know, his white girlfriend, who went to talk to one of the players. I believe it was Julius, you know, who shook his hand and introduced herself before previously, you know, avoiding him out of racial profile. You know, it was really nice, man. So I really thought that the movie was very linear in that sense. You know, there was nothing missing. However, there were quite a few inaccuracies that I'm going to get to in a bit. So before that though, after that somewhat of a happy ending, let's take a look at another clip from the movie.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game.
Get up, boy! Get up! Get up! Get up!
Still weak on the left side.
We're not weak on the left side.
It's not the problem.
What is the problem?
I don't need you up in my face all the time.
I don't care if you like each other or not, but you will respect each other. I want you to tell me something about one of your teammates.
I'm rooming with Blue, sir. He wears those leopard-spotted underwears, bikini style, sir.
Now, there were 3 different production companies involved in the making of this movie, which were Walt Disney Pictures, Jerry Bruckheimer Films, and Technical Black Films, and it was distributed by Buena Vista Pictures, so that explains the high budget, you know, and also the star power that they got. We have, of course, Denzel Washington playing Herman Boone, you know, who through forceful coaching, rigorous training, really brought the players together, you know. This is honestly one of Washington's best performances in my opinion, you know, because like Denzel has this habit of being typecast as this, you know, action badass who's always pretty much playing the same character, you know, shooting people and beating them up, you know, so it's really refreshing to see him as a non-violent football coach, you know, even though, you know, I mean, he did have to deal with a lot of racism, you know, back in the day here, which, I don't know, it's complex, you know, but I did like it. This, to me, honestly, is... I would go on to say it's my favorite Denzel Washington performance, you know, because I'm a big fan of football movies. Then we have Will Patton as Coach Bill Yost, you know, who became the assistant coach under him, you know, and it's really interesting how this character developed, because at first he was against the idea. You can tell that there was a little bit of racial profile in him, you know, but he did slowly start to, warm up to Boo. They do become friends, you know. So then we actually have Wood Harris as Julius Campbell, you know, who himself is an athlete, you know, who played another athlete in the movie. You know, I do believe he also played a little bit of basketball as well. Then we have Ryan Hurst as Gary Bertier, you know, the athlete who unfortunately passed away, who does also grow much more than a lot of the other characters that we see in the film, you know, because, I don't know, it seems like he really has this very underrated, you know, and underappreciated and even often underexplored amount of growth, you know. I think that his character has one of the most important arcs in the entire story, you know, but still, I like the way he was portrayed in the end. We had Donald Faison, you know, as P.D. Jones, who is one of the players that is accosted by Boone, you know, at the beginning of the movie, you know, because he's all confident and cocky, you know, but he almost gets the snot, beat out of him at one point. We have Craig Kirkwood as Jerry Harris, you know, another one of the players. A lot of these are just the athletes, you know. We also had Ethan Suplee as Louis Lastic, another one of the players in the team. And we also had Kip Pardue as Ronnie Bass, you know, who is one of the players who has actually... His nickname was Sunshine, right? He was actually one of the key players in the football team. We had, of course, the lovely, the cute, the bubbly, very, very young at the time Hayden Panettiere, you know, playing Coach Boone's daughter, playing Coach Yost's daughter, Cheryl, you know. And this other, she was actually really nice because of the way that she perked up whenever she was at the game. She really knew a lot about football and she was really against Coach Boone taking her father's job, you know. Very cute, man. I have followed Hayden Panettiere's career since I was a kid because, I mean, she's like my age, so I pretty much grew up watching her movies and I still watch them today. I think she was, you know, really cute back then, you know. And also Ryan Gosling, by the way, playing this kid named Alan Bosley, you know. I always forget that Ryan is in this movie, you know, because it was like one of his earlier roles. Then we also had Burgess Jenkins as Ray Buds, you know. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name, it's a really weird name. Then we have Nicole Ari Parker as Cara Boone, who is Coach Boone's wife, you know. A very beautiful actress, by the way, looks dynamite. Then we have Kate Bosworth, who played Gary's girlfriend, you know, Emma Hoyt. So, you know, she is the one who kind of had a little bit of tension with one of the players at the beginning there, you know. Then we also have Earl C. Putlier as Daryl Stanton, you know, nicknamed Blue, I believe just one of the other players. And we have Neil Gaunt as Frankie Glasgow. So a lot of these guys are just, you know, a lot of the players who are actually involved. Now, here's the thing, guys. I was talking earlier about the historical inaccuracies, you know, that happened throughout the movie. I'm going to give you some examples now. The schools, you know, in Alexandria were actually desegregated in 1959, and the T.C. Williams School was actually created by merging 3 different integrated schools, you know. The Titans were ranked 2nd in the nation. Okay, no, not gonna read that one. So now here we go. In the movie, Boone actually says that we are not like the other schools in the conference because they're all white. We don't have to worry about race, but they do. But that's false because all of the schools that the Titans faced were actually integrated years before the events against the movie, you know. While the team is at camp, it shows Boone waking him up at 3 a.m. to go for a run. This did not occur, neither did that very amazing speech at Gettysburg, you know, which was a highlight of the movie, and it didn't even freaking happen, you know. So yes, now there was also this one here about the climax of the movie, you know, well, of the actual 1971 AAA state championship game between T.C. Williams and the George C. Marshall High School, you know. Now, there were a few liberties taken with the licenses there, but basically that game did not happen the way that we saw it in the movie, essentially, you know. So they didn't even come back from behind to win. That's not what happened at all. The actual state championship, you know, was a 27-0 blowout, which was against Andrew Lewis High School, you know. Now, the car accident that paralyzed Bertier actually happened in 1971, which was after the season-ending state championship game, you know. So he was there, you know, present, you know, unlike what the movie stated. So then, okay, so that's pretty much it actually. The other things aren't really that important, but basically that's a little bit of how the movie worked. And oh yes, the actual production, right? Basically the filming locations took place, you know, in Georgia, you know, certain county high schools where the home games were filmed, you know. There was also Berry College in Rome, Georgia, you know. A lot of different colleges and practice fields were used to, you know, create the football scenes, you know, the games that were actually played in the movie. I thought that was really nice too. And the other championship game scenes as well, but that's just all semantics. So now let's take a look at possibly the last clip here of the video before I move on to the final stretch.
If you lose a game, they'll fire you.
One game, just like that.
Brother, don't you know me? And your mama went out on the town last night. What did you say? What happened to you? Man, I just gave your mama a piggyback ride and she weighs twice as much as I do.
Now, between the year 2000 when it was released and 2001, this movie was nominated for several awards and won 8, you know, so it is considered to be, like I said earlier, one of the greatest football films of all time, and you know, and there's a reason for that. So, but like, even though there are many moments that are very campy and cheesy, and there are a lot of, you know, emotional cliches, like the big heartwarming speech by the coach, you know, I mean, I think that some of the elements do come together in a way that make the message, you know, speak itself loud and clear, you know. And like, if you happen to understand more a little bit about the story, if you were there to see what happened in that community, you know, in Virginia, you know, it's gonna resonate much more with you. But the idea of racism, you know, all of this very strong segregation in the 70s, you know, I think was actually made much more dramatic in its approach, you know, because despite so many inconsistencies and the historical inaccuracies, I think that the way that the producers, you know, kind of twisted certain details to make it appeal more to the mass audience, I think was actually very well done. So it's different than the movie Invincible with Mark Wahlberg that had so many inconsistencies that were just enough to piss you off, you know. That's different, you know. Here at least they tried to do it for the greater good. They tried to make it a good cause, you know, and tried to raise awareness. So I thought it was really nice, you know. I really thought that like everything, like even though the subject matter was very, very dark and harsh, you know, the way that Washington delivered his performance and his chemistry with the other players, you know, it gave everything a lighthearted feel, you know. It felt like it was very, very just, I don't know, felt really good in a way, you know. And this is a feel-good movie to me. I've been watching much more football movies lately, though, to get more into the sport, you know. And this shot itself very high up in my list of the best movies of all time. But I mean, it's really hard to, you know, completely identify it as perfect, you know. There were some things that I think, you know, because of the inconsistencies, I really believe that the movie would have been explored a little bit more if at least certain details were a little truer to form, you know. So in the end, my rating for this movie is going to be a 9 out of 10, which is almost perfect, you know. I think that's the highest rating I've given a movie in a long time, man, you know. I think that 9 out of 10 is very, very fair, you know, because I love this movie so much, you know. I think that the story being portrayed here is very, very, very good, you know, and it has a very good cast. Not exactly ensemble, but still, it's a really good cast. It's very well-rounded, you know. I think I like it a lot. So if this movie didn't have all of those inconsistencies, there's a chance I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but I just can't give it anything less than that, man, you know, because it's Denzel Washington's finest hour, in my opinion. So, you know, there's a little bit of personal bias there. I love Denzel. You know, he's a pretty good actor. So yes, I was considering an 8 out of 10, but I think no, I think this one deserves a 9. It's a really dramatic movie. But anyway, guys, I think that's it. I think that there is all I can say about the movie here. I've covered pretty much all I can, you know. And I'm sorry if I didn't sound very enthusiastic here and there. You know, I'm still a little woozy because I've been sick for the last few days and I'm still recuperating from it. You know. It's been complicated. It's a sacrifice. It's a challenge to come here and record this video today because I'm already weak, you know. But anyway, I think that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this movie if you ever happen to watch it. You know what your opinion was, and yeah, it's all good. By the way, spoilers. Just in case it wasn't obvious already, right? And that's it for now, guys. If you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too so you can know exactly what time I upload. And it's all good. It's all good. This movie's themes will never get old, man. Amazing motivational message. That speech there by Boone, timeless. So anyway, this is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.
Right.
Greek mythology, the Titans were greater even than the gods.
We're gonna change the way we run.
They ruled their universe with absolute power.
We're gonna change the way we block.
On that football field out there tonight, that's our universe.
We're gonna change the way we win.
We don't let anything, nothing, come between us.
We are changed.